We are at war. No, not this war. Not this war either. These are parts of the war that we're fighting. But they're not the war itself. The war that we are fighting isn't as easy to show you. The war that we are fighting is between good and evil. Sometimes the war looks like this. Other times, it looks like this. And sometimes, it looks like this. Regardless of what form the war is taking, it's happening. And it's happening non-stop. And we're all fighting it, consciously or unconsciously. The Bible says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." This isn't a very pleasant thought, but it's true. And understanding this means that we have a duty to consciously fight. And not only a duty to consciously fight, but a duty to consciously fight with everything we have. Because this fight is between life and death. It is between eternal paradise and eternal damnation. For ourselves, for our family, for our friends, for the people before us, the people alive today, and the generations ahead. Looking at it all from this 30,000-foot view seems overwhelming. It makes it easy for us to throw up our hands and say, "This is too big. I can't make a difference." It is big. We certainly can't do it alone. But we can make a difference. Most of it is within our circle of concern. We care about it, but it is completely out of our control. We can pray about it, and we should pray about it, because God can intervene. But in the meantime, what actions can we take to make a difference? Jesus said faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Prayer is wonderful, and we should strive to be fervent in prayer. But we must also take action. Everything that isn't completely out of our control falls within either our circle of influence, the things that we can influence like our families, like elections, and our circle of control, the things that we can control like how we spend our time and how we spend our money. These are what we need to act on. To act on these effectively, we need to know our enemy's strategy. The devil seeks to lead us away from the truth and lead us into sin so that we will be eternally damned like himself. The more that he's able to consolidate power, the easier it is for him to try and control us and lead us astray. One way that he seeks to control us is by reducing the population. It's easier to control a smaller number of people. Another way is by lying to us. By getting us to believe in falsehoods, he's able to distort our worldviews and get us to unknowingly act in ways that hurt us and hurt society. In order to consolidate power to himself, he exploits our human tendency for greed and our own lust for power. As it says in 1 Timothy, the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some of the devil's most effective weapons are by no coincidence the wealthiest and most influential figures throughout the world. Because these are the people that have control and influence over the money. They control and influence how much money is created, how much they're going to tax their citizens, what our tax dollars are going to fund. They control and influence how much housing costs, how much healthcare costs, how much our food costs. Some of these people understand the reality of the darkness that they're involved in, but most are blinded by their own egos and vices. Most of their power comes from their sources of money, the companies that they own and control. Or in the cases of politicians and government officials, the companies that give them money for creating policies that benefit them. These are our targets. These companies, conglomerates, massive corporations must be bankrupted. They need to be financially destroyed, put out of business by us drastically reducing the amount of money that we give them and cutting them off completely whenever possible. We've seen it done at a small scale with companies like Target when they partnered with the satanic clothing company. Many people stopped shopping there, many shopped there less, and many sold their stock in the company. They suffered huge losses. But it shouldn't take overt Satanism to get us to change where we spend our money. This calls for a change in lifestyle. This calls for a sacrifice of convenience and of short-term pleasure. But the right action always comes with some type of sacrifice. Giving up something that we value now for the sake of something that we value more in the future. Even if it means that future generations get to reap the harvest and not us. We have to be willing to make sacrifices. Sacrificing, suffering are not fun, but they are what give things meaning and value. Because nothing truly worthwhile is easy or convenient. In Matthew 16, Jesus says, "Take up your cross and follow me." In other words, embrace your suffering and live righteously. Living righteously requires sacrifice. It's easy to think that we're not important enough for our actions, for our sacrifices to have an impact. But the truth is, even some of our smallest actions that we perceive to be insignificant can have a much greater impact than we expect and a much greater impact than we even know about. There's a movie called It's a Wonderful Life that exemplifies this very well. It's about a man who has given up his earthly aspirations in order to help others in his community. His business takes a turn for the worst, and he prays for help and thinks about killing himself to escape his problems. But his guardian angel intervenes and shows him all the lives that he touched and how things would be if he never existed. Of course, with one less good person in the world, acting not in his best interest as far as earthly success goes, but rather acting selflessly, the world is worse off. Our actions, however small, directly and indirectly, affect those around us, which affects our community, which affects our society, which affects the world.